have to carry yourself differently, but there's a way to find a balance with making sure you're connected with your creator and clear of how you should be moving and what's next. So with that question or with that statement, how do you lay down what God is saying? All right, you did well with that. Now put that down. Because sometimes to people, it'll look like, oh, you always picking up something and starting. But for God, it's like, I have a date, a timeline for this.
Wow.
How do you handle those moments?
Wow, this is loaded. I think a lot of times you guys will hear us address things based on our industry because that's where we've been exposed.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that the generation before us may have struggled with, and I love watching how your mom and your aunts have navigated and matriculated through the industry. Sometimes it can be easy to get stuck in one space, to get stuck in one place, and I think that's the enemy uses that too for jealousy and envy to rise up when you're out of position. If I'm so focused on, all right, this is the next place that God has for me and I'm not living in the past, then I can celebrate those younger gospel artists or worship artists who are coming behind me. I can pour into them because I'm not intimidated by their gifts. I believe you become intimidated by what other people have when you're out of place, when you're out of the season that God wants you in. So now God has me in another season. So I'm able to celebrate the Chandler Moores and I'm able to celebrate the Naomi Rains because I too can now pour into them because God has me focused over here, not in that season where I was. So I believe sometimes you can become agitated and it makes sense if you're out of God's will or God's the space where God wants you right now. So sometimes I would say this to encourage whoever is listening or watching, that if you're feeling an agitation about where you're positioned right now, go and ask God, am I out of place? You know, is there something else you would want for me to do right now so that I can feel more comfortable flowing where you have me? Because it's never easy to go against the waves. Like if the waves are going one way and you still trying to tread back that way, you got to just go with it. Go with the flow. If the flow is going forward, you got to move. Some of us want to stay in that highlighted moment. You want to stay where it's easy. And sometimes moving forward can get rough. Because you got to go back to the drawing board, study again. You got to figure out, okay, how do I handle this season? But that's life. Life is about ups and downs. It's about processing. It's about being prepared for season. And preparation is not always easy, but it's going to be worth it for the success of your next season.
Here's another pause.